All right, you Madonna-obsessed motherfuckers, buckle up. This one's for all you thirsty fans of the queen of pop herself, Madonna.
Ugh, the material girl.
Seems like someone out there is on a mission to become a goddamn Madonna scholar. Am I right?
Uh-huh.
You dumped a shit ton of info on us, and let me tell you, this broad's life is wilder than a nun on spring break.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we've got the brains to break it all down for you.
Sure.
We're joined by a bona fide expert who can drop some serious knowledge bombs on Madonna's career and impact on pop culture.
Let's just say we're about to peel back the layers of the material girl, and trust me, it gets pretty fucking interesting.
All right, let's cut the crap and dive into the early years, before the whole global domination thing.
Before the world knew her name.
Did you know Madonna wasn't always writhing around in a wedding dress at the VMAs? She was actually paying her dues in the New York City rock scene.
Yeah, right.
With bands like Breakfast Club and Emmy and the Emmys.
Emmy and the Emmys, you've got to be shitting me. What kind of name is that for a rock band?
Seriously, it sounds like a retirement home sing-along group.
Well, even the queen of pop had to start somewhere. And let's be real, those early punk rock recordings are pretty raw, almost unrecognizable from the pop icon we know today.
Like, seriously, those recordings are rough.
It's fascinating to hear her musical evolution, from those gritty beginnings to the polished pop princess she became.
Talk about a glow-up. But what's really interesting is how she hustled to make it. I mean, the woman was posing nude for art classes just to pay the rent.
I've heard about that.
It's like she was destined to become a controversial figure, always pushing the boundaries of what was acceptable.
Right. And you can definitely see that early hustle reflected in her later career moves. She was always in control, always willing to take risks, and she didn't give a damn what anyone thought about it.
Okay, but let's get to the good stuff. When did this chick actually blow up and become, Madonna?
Her first solo album, simply titled Madonna, hit the scene in 1983. It landed on the Billboard 200, which is pretty impressive for a debut.
For sure.
But it was really 1984 that changed everything. Like a virgin. That's when the world went batshit crazy for Madonna.
Yeah, like a Virgin was a game changer.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just the music, right? The videos, the fashion, the whole damn package was designed to make you stop and stare.
Absolutely. The music videos weren't just promotional tools. They were mini-movies, telling stories, pushing boundaries, and often pissing people off in the process.
Oh yeah, lots of pissed off people.
And her fashion. Lace leggings, crucifixes, that whole rebellious yet sexy vibe. Madonna wasn't just selling music, she was selling an attitude, a lifestyle, and a whole generation of women bought into it.
Hell yeah, remember like a Virgin performance at the VMAs? Rolling around on stage in a wedding dress simulating? Well, you get the picture.
Right.
You're a fucking genius.
That performance wasn't just about shock value, though it definitely had that. It was a calculated move that cemented her status as a pop provocateur, someone who wasn't afraid to challenge societal norms, especially around female sexuality.
Yeah, exactly.
MTV was never the same.
You know, it's fucked up. People were losing their minds over a woman expressing her sexuality. It's like they wanted to keep women in these little boxes, all innocent and pure.
Right.
Madonna said, fuck that noise, and blew those boxes to smithereens. She was like, I'm going to be sexy, powerful, and successful, and I'm going to do it my way. And you know what? It worked.
She tapped into something that resonated deeply with women, especially young women. This was the 80s, a time of conservative backlash against the feminist movement of the 70s. Madonna represented a new kind of feminism, one that embraced sexuality and power.
And pissed off a lot of people in the process. The religious groups, the conservatives, even some feminists weren't too happy with her. Which, let's be honest, probably just made her more famous. She was a master at using controversy to her advantage.
Controversy was her fuel. Like a prayer video with the burning crosses and interracial romance, the Justify My Love video getting banned from MTV. It only amplified her message and made her even more of an icon.
Let's be real, though. There's pushing buttons, and then there's dropping a goddamn nuclear bomb. Yeah. The sex book and the erotica album. Holy shit, this broad was fearless. Or maybe just batshit crazy.
It was a bold move, no doubt. Think about the context. In the early 90s, for a woman in the mainstream to embrace her sexuality so explicitly, it was unheard of.
No one had seen that before.
It was shocking, titillating, and honestly pretty groundbreaking. But it definitely sparked a debate about how far is too far, even for the queen of pop.
All right, so we've covered the early years, the rise to fame, and the controversies that made Madonna a household name. But we're just scratching the surface here, folks.
Oh, yeah.
This bitch has decades of material to dissect.
We've got so much more to talk about.
Stay tuned, because we're about to unpack Madonna's ventures beyond music. her attempts at world domination and whether she actually managed to pull it off.
Ooh, that's a good one. All right, let's pick up where we left off with Madonna pushing the limits and everyone wondering if she'd have finally gone too far.
Yeah, after that whole sex book and erotica era, people were like, has the queen finally lost her goddamn crown?
But here's the thing. While she was dealing with that backlash, she was also diving headfirst into a completely different challenge.
What's that?
Starring in the film adaptation of Evita.
Seriously, what the hell was she thinking?
Yeah.
It's like she went from being a dominatrix to playing a saint.
I think she was craving a new way to express herself, you know? Like, she wanted to prove she was more than just a shock pop star. And guess what? She fucking nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
The critics loved her, and she even snagged a Golden Globe for Best Actress.
Damn. Okay, color me surprised. So maybe there was more to this chick than met the eye. But what about the music? Was she still churning out hits while she was off playing dress-up in Argentina?
The Evita soundtrack was a massive hit, with Don't Cry For Me Argentina becoming a global anthem. But it was her next studio album, Ray of Light, that really marked a turning point in her career. It was a departure from her previous sound, incorporating electronic and techno influences while exploring themes of motherhood, spirituality, and self-reflection.
So she basically traded in her fishnets for a yoga mat. Did she find Jesus or something?
Not exactly. It was more about exploring different aspects of herself, you know.
Yeah.
She was in her late 30s at this point, and her music reflected a new maturity and depth. It's like she was shedding her old skin and embracing a more introspective side.
Well, that's kind of a bummer. I like the wild, badass Madonna. Did she go all mellow and shit?
Hell no. She followed Ray of Light with music, which was just as experimental and forward-thinking. It was a blend of electronica, dance pop, and even some rock influences.
So she brought back some of that edge.
For sure.
Okay, so the queen was back, and she wasn't afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
But what about the whole being a mom thing? Did that mellow her out at all?
He became a mother for the first time in 1996 when her daughter Lourdes was born. And yeah, motherhood definitely had an impact on her. You can hear it in her music, the themes she explores. But Madonna, being Madonna, she never let motherhood define her. She continued to push boundaries both in her music and personal life.
Typical Madonna.
Oh,
Always got to do things her way, right?
Yeah.
So walk me through the 2000s. What kind of shit was she stirring up then?
The 2000s were a mixed bag for Madonna.
How so?
She had some major successes, like the Confessions on a Dance Floor album, which was a return to her dance pop roots.
Oh, yeah, that's a good...
And the Confessions tour, which was one of the highest grossing tours of all time.
I bet that tour was wild. Was she still rocking those cone bras?
No cone bras, but there were plenty of other outrageous outfits and provocative performances. She even incorporated religious imagery, which of course pissed off some people.
Shocker. So what about the lows? You said the 2000s were a mixed bag.
She released a few albums that weren't as well received as her previous work, like American Life, which was criticized for being overly political.
Interesting.
And her film career never really took off the way she hoped. She directed 2 films, Filth and Wisdom and W.E., but neither one was a critical or commercial success.
Ouch. So maybe directing wasn't her forte. Stick to singing and dancing, Madge. So what about her personal life? Any more marriages, divorces, or general mayhem?
She married director Guy Ritchie in 2000, and they had a son together, Rocco. But the marriage ended in divorce in 2008. It was a very public and messy split, which, you know, is kind of her style.
Another one bites the dust. Didn't she adopt a bunch of children from Malawi around that time?
She did. She adopted her son David in 2006, daughter Mercy in 2009, and twin daughters Estir and Stella in 2017.
Wow.
She's been very vocal about her love for her children and her commitment to helping children in need, particularly in Malawi. It's definitely a side of her that we don't often see in the media, which tends to focus on her more controversial aspects.
Okay, so Madonna the mom is actually a thing. Who knew? But let's get back to the music.
Right.
Did she release any more albums in the 2010s and beyond? Or did she finally fade into obscurity like, you know, every other pop star from the 80s?
Fade into obscurity. Please, Madonna doesn't know the meaning of the word. She continued to release music throughout the 2010s and 2020s with albums like MDNA Rebel Heart and Madame X.
Hold up, Madame X. What the fuck is that all about? Sounds like some kind of dominatrix alter ego.
She was living in Lisbon, Portugal at the time, and she was inspired by the city's diverse musical culture.
Ah, I see.
The album is a mix of pop, Latin, and electronic influences. It's Madonna, but with a global twist.
So she's still experimenting, still pushing boundaries even in her 60s. Damn, this chick is like a goddamn Energizer bunny.
Exactly. And she's still touring, too. She recently wrapped up her Madame X tour, which was a smaller, more intimate affair than her previous stadium tours.
Right, so the queen is still alive and kicking, even if she's not selling out stadiums anymore. But Let's be honest, her best days are behind her, right? I mean, she's got to be, what, like 70 years old by now? How long does she keep this up?
She's 66, and she's showing no signs of slowing down. She's still making music, she's still performing, and she's still pissing people off. It's what she does best.
Damn, this chick is a force of nature. So what's the legacy here? How do we sum up Madonna's impact on pop culture after all this shit?
Madonna is a true icon, a pioneer, a provocateur.
Yeah.
She redefined what it means to be a female pop star, and she's paved the way for countless artists to follow in her footsteps. She's a businesswoman, a mother, an activist, and above all, an artist who's never been afraid to challenge the status quo.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But let's be real. She's also a bit of a mess.
Mm.
Right? I mean, all the marriages, the divorces, the controversies, the constant need for attention.
Well, she's certainly not a conventional figure, but that's part of what makes her so fascinating.
That's true.
She's never been afraid to be herself, to be different, to push the boundaries of what's acceptable for women, for artists, for humans in general. And that's a pretty powerful legacy, even if it comes with a healthy dose of chaos.
All right, I'll give you that. Madonna is one of a kind, for better or for worse. But we're not done yet, folks. We've still got a whole lot more to unpack about the Queen of Pop's reigns. Stay tuned, because we're about to drop some serious truth bombs about her later years, her impact on the music industry, and whether she's actually a genius or just a master manipulator. All right, let's wrap up this deep dive into the wild world of Madonna. We've covered her punk rock days, her rise to pop superstardom, the controversies, the reinventions, the marriages, the kids.
It's been quite a ride.
No shit. So after all this, what are we left with? What's the lasting impact of this chick? I mean, is she actually a legend or just a really good self-promoter?
Well, I think one of the most important things to consider is how she redefined what it meant to be a female pop star. Before Madonna, women in music were largely expected to be sweet, innocent, and, let's be honest, pretty tame.
Yeah, like those goody two-shoes pop princesses who were all about singing about puppies and rainbows. Madonna came in and blew that shit out of the water.
Exactly. Madonna was bold, provocative, and unapologetically sexual. She refused to be put in a box.
She did it her way.
She controlled her own image, her own music, her own career.
And she made a fuck ton of money doing it.
Right. She proved that women could be just as successful, if not more so, than men in the music industry. And she did it all on her own terms.
The termis. She paved the way for a whole generation of female artists who are now dominating the charts. Britney, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, they all owe a debt to Madonna.
I think that's a fair assessment. Madonna showed them that it was possible to be a strong, independent woman in the music industry and beyond. She was a feminist icon, whether she embraced the label or not.
Okay, so she was a trailblazer, a feminist icon, a master manipulator of the media, but let's not forget she also put out some damn good music.
Absolutely. She's released some of the most iconic pop songs of all time, like A Virgin, Material Girl, Vogue, Like a Prayer. I mean, these songs are ingrained in our collective consciousness.
They're earworms you can't get out of your head even if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And she's still evolving, still experimenting, still pushing boundaries. I mean, the Madame X album. Who would have thought she'd be dabbling in Latin music in her 60s?
It speaks to her constant desire to reinvent herself, to stay relevant, to keep pushing herself creatively. It's pretty remarkable, really. Most artists her age are content to rest on their laurels and churn out greatest hits albums. Not Madonna. She's still hungry, still pushing the envelope.
Yeah, this chick's got more lives than a goddamn cat.
So what's the final verdict? Is Madonna a genius, a crazy bitch, or a brilliant businesswoman who figured out how to sell her crazy to the masses?
I think she's a bit of all of the above. She's a complex, contradictory figure who defies easy categorization.
I could see that.
But one thing's for sure, she's left an indelible mark on pop culture.
Damn right. She's Madonna, the one and only. And love her or hate her, you can't deny her impact.
A true original.
Well, there you have it, folks. The Queen of Pop laid bare. Now go forth and blast some Madonna. Or, just go contemplate the complexities of fame and the enduring power of reinvention. Until next time, you magnificent bastards.